Today I want to talk about cars. I'm a car guy. I don't own a lot of cars, primarily due to a lack of the funds necessary to do that. Although if money were no object, my garage would probably closely resemble Jay Leno's. It really would. But today, did something a little special. Not something I would normally do, but my wife and I were driving down the road and passed a used car lot. In one particular part of town, there are several used car lots in the same area. And this was one of those lots, and sitting right out front was a Maserati. Now, you don't see those often, although there's a dealership about a 45-minute drive from here. But it's a high-end car, and you just generally don't see a lot of them. So I thought, you know, I'm going to go check that out, see what a Maserati's really like. So we circled around and went back to the dealership, and here's a little clip. All right, 2014 Maserati Quattrofina or something like that. I'll have to look at the label again. It looks surprisingly normal, like it would blend into traffic with anything. But when you get behind the wheel, you realize you're in a Maserati. I stepped on it at one point, and yeah, it's a Maserati Quadriporte. But I stepped on it, and it threw me back in the seat in a big way. 2014 Maserati Quadriporte. Getting the mirror straightened out. All right, we're gonna turn right here.
Yes.
Fairly smooth ride for this road too. Which one?
Hiding places.
Now, this is a little clip of the test drive. We didn't get much of it because of several factors. But there was one point where the salesman who was sitting in the back seat says, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you want to get into it, this spot right here is where you get into it. So I put my foot down on the floor, and it threw me back into the seat with such force that was reminiscent of watching the Apollo moon launches back when I was a kid in the early 70s. But it was immensely powerful. It had a V6 engine in it, and from what I understand, the fuel economy was fairly decent. I don't know exact numbers, but the power this thing had was phenomenal. It was, I did 0 to 60 in probably, I didn't have a stopwatch going, but it was in the neighborhood of 4 seconds. Might have been a little over, a little under, but it was very quick. I mean, it was that quick, and I was up there to speed. But I didn't drive it around long. It was a 2014 Maserati Quadrofino or something like that. Not sure of the name, but 6-year-old car, basically, and they wanted $24,000 for it. Now, although I don't know what they cost new, I will put it here somewhere after I find out. But I just thought I would talk about that for a minute, because a week ago we went to the International Car Show. Now, this was the Jacksonville, Florida International Car Show, so it wasn't as big as New York or Chicago or Los Angeles or Miami. But it was a pretty good car show. Basically, they didn't have any of the concept cars, which saddened me because those are the ones I really like to see where innovation is going in what direction and all. And I looked at a lot of cars, and I was shocked at the prices. Now, it's been a few years since I've bought a new car, but not many. I mean, well, it's okay. It has. It's been 13 years since I bought a new car. And I know the prices have increased dramatically. I've mentioned before on here that the first car I bought new, I paid $6,400 for. It was a 1987 Isuzu Pup, the little basic, small, inexpensive, stripped-down pickup truck. $6,400. And I could I think I was making $5 an hour at the time, and I could afford to finance that. I don't know how anybody would buy a new car today. I can't afford one on my salary. Which is sad. But the average price that I saw of vehicles at that car show, and these are, it was every, from the entry-level cars to the high-end cars. And when I say high-end, it was limited somewhat because Ferrari, Lamborghini, those type of places weren't there. I went to a car show a bunch of years ago in Miami, and we saw Lotus and McLaren and, all, all sorts of things. You didn't see that in Jacksonville. In fact, not all the represented cars manufacturers were represented because I didn't see any Kia. And there's a lot of Kias on the street. But at any rate, the average price was probably $35,000 for a new car. That's a lot of money. And you break it down to a monthly payment, you're talking, with what most people can afford to put down, you finance that for 6 or 7 years for probably $700-800 a month, which is crazy. Nobody can afford that. But for $24,000, you can have a 6-year-old Maserati, which is like I said, it's not an inexpensive car to begin with, but this thing was nice. Everything was leather. Everything was beautiful. It had 89,000 miles on it, which in today's world is not that bad. That's fairly low miles. So, just my thoughts of the day. Before you go out there and buy a new car, look around at what's on the used car lots. You might just be surprised. I know I was. But that's my opinion. I'm John. I'm the Hat Guy. Have a great day.